VitalHoops is for the culture.
Peace, everybody. Welcome to the Vital Hoops Podcast. My name is Fernando Cardenas, aka International XB. I am your host. This is episode number 40. And I got what I love to say, my co-host right here with me.
What up?
Pierre Jacobs, aka Pete from Train for Greatness. We in the house for episode 40.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? So today we're gonna get into veganism. Everything's vegan. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get into that for y'all. But before we get into veganism, we're gonna talk a little bit of basketball. Okay, just a little bit of basketball. The World Cup, man. FIBA Basketball World Cup just ended not too long ago. We were following that a little bit. It was some drama. It was some good games.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about that real quick. So Germany is now, world champion for the first time ever.
Yeah.
First time ever.
Yeah.
Germany won the World Cup.
That's her first one.
First one ever, man.
Oh, okay.
First time they ever won a World Cup.
Okay.
Yep. So Germany got the gold. Serbia, silver. Serbia had a really good team. And then Canada got the bronze, man.
All right.
Canada had a squad. They had a lot of NBA players, all that. But yeah, so United States, 4th place. They brought a what I thought was a pretty good team, and they were playing well, but it wasn't their A squad. We all know that.
Right.
Other teams played very well. Canada played, like I said, Germany played extremely well. They won every single game. They never lost even like a group game, nothing. They won every game.
So they went undefeated the entire FIBA.
Throughout the whole. So they really deserve it, man. So Dennis Schroeder got MVP.
Okay.
He was killing. Nobody could stop him out there. Toronto Raptors guard Dennis Schroeder. So I'm gonna give y'all the first team, right? The FIBA World Cup first team.
Okay.
So we got Dennis Schroeder from Germany, Toronto Raptors. We got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, played a great World Cup too, from Canada.
Okay.
OKC Thunder. We got Anthony Edwards.
Okay.
He was a beast from Team USA, Minnesota Timberwolves. We got Bogdan Bogdanovic from Serbia. He plays for the Hawks. And we got Luka Doncic. Everybody knows from Slovenia.
Yep.
Plays for the Dallas Mavericks. So the only point I wanted to make with that is, first team, all players play in the league.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
All different countries.
Yeah.
But the best player from each country almost always plays in the league.
Yeah.
Unless once in a while it might be like a great Euro League player, but usually it's an NBA player. So just to say, obviously, NBA continues to be a dominant league, the best league in the world. But yeah, congrats to Germany.
Yeah, congratulations.
I know on the Vital Hoops Podcast we got a couple listeners from Germany, so congrats. I know basketball is growing over there. Hip hop is big in Germany too, so shout out to Germany. And we'll see what happens in 2024. The Olympics going to be here in France. I know Team USA is excited.
The big names are saying they want to play now, right? The big names, LeBron's throwing his name out there. Book is throwing his name out there. So we'll see. We'll see
what happens, man. If everybody comes out, it should be interesting. It's going to be good. Either way, it's going to be good. I love competition. So whenever, the juices start flowing and everybody's like, yo, what's up? We got to bring our A squad. And, other teams, Germany obviously is going to be trying to defend their title. France is going to come back stronger because they're going to be at home and they played a bad World Cup.
Right.
They didn't even make it out their group. So they're going to be, trying to have a good Olympics. Spain also didn't do as well as planned.
Yeah.
So, teams are going to come back strong. And apparently Team USA is going to come back ready as well.
So we should have a real good Olympics.
Yeah,
we should have a real good Olympics for basketball.
As
basketball is concerned. Okay.
Should be interesting, man. So, hey, you might have to be back here for the Olympics.
Hey, let's do it.
Maybe give Coach Steve Kerr a call. Maybe.
Yeah.
All right, man. So listen, real quick. Talk about our squad, man. What you came here to do, man. Here, before we get to the vegan talk, what you came here to do, man. With our team, with Montgermont, man. For those of you who didn't listen to our previous episode, episode 38, we spoke about why Pierre was here in France, and he's been working with our squad, with our basketball team. Man, all I gotta say is, man, we got better, man.
Yeah.
We got better. It was a short period of time, but it was intense, and I think we got better. I think you definitely helped us, and I think you're gonna help us reach our goal, because we're still gonna be talking to you back and forth throughout the whole year.
Right.
So but I'm thinking we're gonna be running teams out the gym, man.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's the goal. Yeah.
I think like the physicality has raised.
Yeah.
We could see it, right? We retested last night, so for those who are looking at our Instagram, we tested on the first night and retested last night, and you can see, guys are getting quicker with their cuts, further with their jumps, faster coming off of the start. So, everything that we've worked on, we can see the increase. And when you guys have been playing teams that are maybe higher levels, I mean, you guys are physically dominant. Yeah. So, we can see a big difference, and I'm excited for you guys for the season. And, it's a good opportunity, and it's a good.
Yeah. By the way, for those of you who haven't seen it yet, go to his Instagram at @train4 greatness. Lots of workouts on there. Everything that we've been doing with the team is really interesting. If you're into anything that has to do with fitness, with nutrition, with basketball training, all of that, check it out. But man, I think that's the goal, man. To get better every day. We're gonna be working on that. It's gonna be a long season, but that's the goal. How did you feel, man? How did you feel from everything? You coming in. I don't know. I'm sure you had certain expectations. I don't know. And how did you see the team develop? How did you feel about everything, like the experience? Of being here.
So for me, like the experience was great. Like I came in kind of open-minded, but then I learned very quickly like the game here is a little bit different. But I like it because the entire team was receptive of my training, and everything I asked of them, the guys did it. Even if it was a little bit abstract from what we're used to as basketball players, right? We got into like some days we did deep breathing, some days we did yoga, some days we did jumping into the ocean, And I know that that's not typical for basketball training, but then guys, were telling me like, man, we can see the difference in the game with the mentality, with the breathing and things like that. So for me, man, it was all pleasure, man. It was a challenge for me, a challenge for you guys, and I think we made each other better.
No doubt.
To be honest, So shout out to the Montgermont team for having me. Thank you so much. I'm very, very appreciative. Forever, you guys will be a big part of my life, and I'm very grateful for that. So
Definitely, man. Thank you, and shout out to the squad, BCM, and shout out to Coach Junior.
Shout out to Junior, my guy.
No doubt.
Junior, thank you for everything. That's love, man. Thank you for everything. You looked out for me. Thank you very much.
For sure, man. For sure. Yeah. Hopefully, you're gonna continue to be a part of this, man. You know what I mean, one way or another. No doubt. Like I said, go to the Instagram. At @train4 greatness to follow, everything that's going on. And I'll definitely be, giving a little bit of updates here and there on what's going on with our squad. But definitely keep following.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, veganism. Let's get into it, man.
That's what we're here. Let's do it.
Yeah, man. So as you all know, veganism is a part of the VitalHoopsPodcast. P and I are both vegan. You know what I'm saying? Real quick, for those of you who are not familiar, what is veganism, right? It's basically abstaining from the use of animal products. Okay, that's what veganism is about, particularly in diet. But vegans really is more than just the diet. Also, for example, we try not to get products on our skin that are animal, for example, animal tested products. We try not to use them at all, to consume them at all, We try not to wear leather, minks, all that bullshit. We don't wear none of that. We try not to go to anywhere where animals are abused, like zoos, for example. Anything that has to do with animal abuse, basically. We stay away from that, right?
Basically, we're trying to look at the whole picture, right? Like, not only are we benefiting ourselves, but how are we benefiting nature and our fellow man, our fellow animal, and things like that. I think that it's more of a holistic approach, and we're looking at from a wide lens.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. It's a philosophy that rejects the exploitation of animals, basically. So, other than veganism, there is vegetarianism, right?
Yep.
People who are vegetarian, which means they also do not eat meat, right? They do not eat any type of flesh, but they do consume animal derived products.
Right.
Meaning
Maybe like
butter,
some cheese,
milk, all types of things like that. Then you got pescatarians who eat fish, for example. You know, and then within veganism, you got alkaline vegans, you got raw vegans,
right?
People
It's
who
levels.
eat raw. So it's definitely levels. But you got fruitarians, right? But today we're gonna stick to veganism, right? So, real quick, for those of you who don't know, you may notice if you're a listener of the VitalHoopsPodcast, but I went vegan in 2016, right? My wife and I, we actually went vegan together. My son was 1 at the time, and I was playing semi-pro basketball. I was living in Paris, right around on the outsides of Paris. And, you know, for me, it was a little different. Like, my wife went cold turkey, right? Me, I had already been introduced to all of this, mainly through my brothers who were vegetarians for a very long time. You know what I mean? Through Rasta culture and everything. So, by the time I went vegan, I was already not consuming pork. I was not consuming red meat at all, actually. And I think I had already stopped chicken. I was basically consuming fish and dairy and things like that.
Okay.
Right, but my wife went cold turkey. The reason I stopped eating pork a very long time ago, when I was back living in the United States, when I was kind of young, I got mainly influenced, you know, by everything, the words of Malcolm X and things like that. And then I stopped eating red meat more because of health reasons, because I started reading things and learning about how, you know, red meat is not so good for athletes and this and that. So I was only sticking to more like things like turkey and fish and chicken, you know what I'm saying? So that's when the health consciousness kicked in. And but by the time my wife and I decided to try to go vegan, it was more so because of the environment, because we saw a documentary together.
Okay.
Right? And after that, she was like, let's do it. Let's try it for 3 months. You know what I'm saying? So, because we see the impact that it had, you know, the environmental footprint. And so we're like, yo, this is crazy. So we're like, let's do it. Let's try it. So we tried it for 3 months. And after the first month, we already knew we were going to stay vegan. We're like, oh, we feel good. We felt great.
Right,
so we're like, damn, it's more than just, you know, it's more sides to it. It's not just the environment. It's not just the animal suffering, but it's also one's well-being.
Did you feel great right away? Like for your first,
well,
do you remember the first week or something?
I know certain people actually feel bad at first.
Yeah, that was my experience.
Yeah. Because your body has to detox.
Right.
So unfortunately, some people quit being vegan at that time because they're like, no, I have to listen to my body. I didn't feel good.
Right.
But think about it. It's kind of like when someone is on drugs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they stop taking drugs,
like
they're gonna feel bad. They're gonna feel horrible.
Right.
But that's still what they need. You know what I'm saying? But they're gonna feel really bad for a little bit. And then but me personally, I felt good right away, but it's also because I told you, like I was already.
That you took stages. You took stages.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So yeah, that's kind of my short vegan story. What about you, Pete?
Yeah. So mine is actually piggybacks off of yours, where I think you came to visit me in 2017. We were doing a charity event for our friend, and you were like, "Hey, P, while I'm here, try to be vegan for like the week." I think you were there for like a week or so.
I was there for like a week, yep.
So my wife and I were both like, okay, yeah, let's try it while he's here. I'm already a healthy guy. I always try different things to increase my health, you know. So then when I tried it when you were here, I think for the first 5 days, I felt kind of bad, but I was like, I'm gonna stick it out while you're here, obviously. Yeah. And then I remember like waking up day 6, and when I woke up day 6, it was like I felt great. Like I had clarity in my brain. Like I just felt lighter. I felt energetic. And then I started like chasing that feeling like day after day. Like at this time, I'm already a fitness trainer. You got to think at this time, I'm eating 300 grams of protein because I'm in bodybuilding mode.
Protein.
Yeah, animal protein, right. Animal protein. So I'm eating like chicken breast just on top of chicken breast all day. So I went cold turkey, flipped it from that. So that's why that first 5 days was a little bit rough. But yeah, once I woke up that day 6, I already knew like, okay, I'm gonna stick to it. And now my wife and I have both been vegan for 6 years.
Wow.
6 years. Yeah. A little bit over 6 years.
Yeah. A little bit over 6. So
Yep.
us, it's been like 7 for us.
Yep.
But yeah, man, I feel you. That's it's also for me at the time I was still playing like semi-pro at a pretty high level. So some of my teammates would ask me like, "Yo," because I kind of switched like halfway through the season, I think.
Oh, okay.
It was like a switch like halfway through the season, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And some of my teammates would ask me like, "Yo, what's up? How you feeling, man? How you gotta eat your protein, this and that."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Nah, man, you don't see me out there." They're like, "Yeah, you looking good, man." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm feeling."
So you could see performance changes?
I could see recovery changes right away.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like I could feel less soreness.
Okay.
I would wake up, I would feel a lot better, a lot less sore, a little bit more energized. You know what I'm saying? I could feel that right away. Yeah, I felt that pretty right away. And then like
So athletes, if you hear that, try it.
Yeah.
You want to recover a little bit faster, try it.
For sure.
Try it out.
Yeah, I definitely advise anybody to give it a try, but definitely athletes.
Yeah,
for sure. But yeah, so there are 3 main reasons, right, why people go vegan, right?
Okay.
So the 3 main reasons are animal suffering, environmental footprint, basically linked to climate change, and health, right?
Okay.
Health.
Okay.
I think the one that is mostly discussed when it comes to veganism is animal suffering.
Okay.
Right? And the one that is the most controversial might be health. I think so.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
It might be a little controversial because there's a lot of, there's a lot of misinformation. Let's keep it real.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of misinformation. It shouldn't be controversial, but there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Yeah.
So it kind of is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's get into that. Let's get into, see, to me, I do want to say that. I always say that, but I want to say it again. To me, there's no bad reasons to go vegan. You know what I'm saying? I feel like every reason to, whatever your reason is, it's positive because there's so much positive that goes with being a vegan.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now, certain vegans are not healthy vegans, but I do want to clarify that, a lot of everyday people aren't healthy as well. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people would be like, well, you're a vegan, but you're unhealthy. Right? But it's not, it doesn't mean that if I wasn't vegan, I would be healthy.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they'd be like, certain vegans only eat French fries and they eat bread and they eat fake meats.
Right.
That's true, but a lot of carnivorous people just eat fast food and they drink soda and they smoke. You know what I'm saying? So, but let's get into that.
But I think like still we got to be careful because like there is a misconception that people who are vegan try to put out there is like vegan is healthier, which is true. But there always is a wrong way to do the right thing, right? So like you can eat like French fries and chips every day and be vegan, and that's not necessarily healthy. So there still has to be a level of like consciousness when it comes to what you're putting into your body versus just like riding the trend now, which is like, hey, I'm vegan, I'm saving the animals. Yes, you are saving the animals, and that's great. But at the same time, like internally, we want to make sure we have that balance of taking care of ourselves too. But yes, like you said, but if you don't want to take care of yourself, at least you're not like damaging the environment and damaging animals at the same time. But not every vegan is healthy.
No doubt, yeah.
Exactly.
That's just the truth. That's just facts.
Exactly.
And like Aristotle.
Oh yeah,
Aristotle, he says that, he's not an animal activist, right? He's like, but he says, I take care of this animal right here. And he says, if I'm taking care of this animal right here, the other animals don't have to worry about me. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So automatically by default, I'm taking care of the other animals. I'm taking care of the well-being of the planet. Just by taking care of myself. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's dope because everything is connected. And when we talk about healthy vegans, I think we also have to take into consideration the well-being of the planet, right? Because I think that, our health only goes so far if we live in an unhealthy environment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Meaning that, like, we know today, unfortunately, the air is polluted, the water is polluted.
Right.
Way more than 50 years ago or than 100 years ago, way more. So, things are getting worse as far as that. And it's affecting us, whether we want it or not. So that's another reason to go vegan, not just for the environment, but for us. To be careful with what we put into our body, to make sure we put, vitamins and minerals into our body. We have enough fiber. We have enough fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
Because we're already breathing in air that's not necessarily great.
Right.
Especially if we live in urban cities, which most of us do. If we live in urban cities, a lot of pollution. There's microplastic everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And that's affecting our health, you know what I'm saying? So
it's like we're fighting this battle that whether we want to fight the battle or not, we're in it. Mm-hmm. Right? Exactly. So we're in it. So whatever we can do to give ourselves a upper hand, we should do that, right? So if putting, being vegan and eating whole is what's going to help us to fight this battle more accurately, then I think that we should take that approach.
Right? Absolutely. I agree, man. That's it, man. And also, I think there's another aspect to it, which is holistic health. Like when we talk about holistic health, that's something that we're into. You and I are both very much into holistic health. Mind, body, spirit. We're into meditating, doing yoga. Obviously exercising, eating right. But this is my personal opinion, right? I'm not sure what you think, but there's a lot of people that say that they're into holistic health, but they're still promoting the consumption of flesh, right? They're still promoting eating meat and that, but they say they're into holistic health. Now, I'm not saying that you can't be healthy and consume a moderate amount of meat. I think you can. I think you can be a healthy person and still consume some meat, right? Okay. But when it comes to holistic health, right? I think that's counterproductive for a couple of reasons. I think that the act of taking another living being's life when it's not necessary. Okay. You understand what I'm saying? I think that's when we're talking about the spiritual part of holisticness. Right. You know what I'm saying? When you know and understand it's not necessary, but not only is it not necessary, it's not beneficial really. You can do a lot better through plants. Right. I think that's one part of it. Another part of it is that most of us, the meat that we're eating is meat that's they're killing animals that are extremely stressed out. Yeah. And we're inheriting that stress. There are animals that... But not only that, but the animals are animals, but they're injected, right? Yeah. So they're injected. So hormones. So whether you're looking at it from am I being, kind to animals versus whether I'm being kind to myself. If you're eating an animal that's stressed out or an animal that's injected, either way, you're not really passing that thought process of, am I being healthy to myself? Because now you're eating an animal that's injected with antibiotics just so that it can look bigger, it can look more appealing to the eye, and that's unhealthy. Yeah. No matter which way we think about it, like that's putting a chemical into your body that, whether you're trying to say you're holistic or not, that's not holistic. Right. Absolutely, yeah. And that kind of brings us into what a lot of people want to talk about. When we talk about veganism, which is vitamin B12. Yeah. Okay. Right. I think it's important to speak on vitamin B12 because there's many ways to get to this. Because a lot of people will say that veganism is not natural, it's not normal, because you can't get vitamin B12. You have to eat animals, right? So first of all, that's not true. Okay, when we talk about B12, first of all, B12 is really, it's a bacteria, right? B12 is a bacteria that we find from Earth. Animals don't have it. It's just that usually animals eat grass and they get it from the dirt that they eat, right? Okay. But in factory farming, those animals aren't eating grass. So how are they getting the B12? They're getting injected. Right. They're getting injected. So it's just the same as you cutting the middleman and taking a supplement. They're giving supplements to the animal so that the animal can have the B12. Right. And now you're taking the B12, right? That's one part of it. The other part is that many years ago, right, where we didn't have to filter and clean the water the way we're doing it today, where water that runs out of the faucet is basically dead water, right? Back in the day, we could get B12 from water if we're drinking spring water, maybe straight from the spring. Right, okay. Or even in our vegetables, we didn't have to super clean them like we do today because there's so much pesticides and things like that. The other thing is that it's also a lie that you can't get it from plants. That's a lie. There's spirulina has vitamin B12, and there are herbal teas as well that have it. Alpha has vitamin B12. Kelp has vitamin B12. Comfrey has vitamin B12. You know what I mean? So there are certain plant sources that do have it. It's true. It's true that it's harder to have it on a plant-based diet, but it's not impossible. So and also there's nothing wrong with taking a vitamin supplement. There's nothing wrong with that. People who say like, "Oh, you're not natural." Well, what do you mean by that? We're not.
But let me talk on that real quick. I think I agree. Like, it's nothing wrong with taking supplements. Like, definitely, you have to take supplements. But for one, make sure everyone goes get your blood work done. So don't just take supplements. Don't just listen to your neighbor and they're like, "Hey, you need more calcium," and you just start taking calcium, like, because they read it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So go get your blood work done, because you may be sufficient enough and you might be healthy and you're taking a supplement and it's not necessarily needed, or vice versa. You might need something that you're not aware of, right? This is for meat eaters, vegans, whatever.
Exactly.
So make sure that you are getting your blood work done. And also, if you do decide to take a supplement, look for the highest quality. If you're in the U.S., I know we have like organic, USDA organic. It's not a perfect system, but at least there's some monitoring on it. And I think here we have the bio, right? Bio supplements. Organic supplements. So there is levels to the supplement game. So get your blood work done and make sure you're getting the highest quality supplement, whether that's USDA organic or bio over here in Europe. Just make sure you're getting the highest quality and talk to a doctor who can educate you on that proper supplement in order to take. But just don't just take stuff just because your friend said take something, because that's just not wise.
No doubt. I would also definitely encourage everybody to take organic. You know, if you're gonna take vitamins, take organic, and not only that, don't stop at just your vitamins. I definitely encourage to consume organic produce.
Of course,
You know, it's not always possible.
Yeah.
But the truth is that a lot of us are not willing to spend a lot of money on food. We want to buy cheap food, but then we're willing to spend money on clothes.
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean, to buy expensive clothes or expensive cars or expensive shoes. But the food got to be cheap, right? That doesn't make any sense. The food is what you put inside your body. Your body's your temple. So you should be willing to pay a little more for your food, which is extremely important. So, you know what I'm saying? I think we got to get our priorities straight with that as well.
And then from a nutrition standpoint, one trick that people can, you know, if money really is the issue and it's a little expensive to go organic all the time, you can pick and choose if you need to, right? Organic is always the best, but if you need to pick something that's not organic, try to get things that have a shell around them, have a peel around them, things that aren't exposed. Like if you're eating blueberries or strawberries, you go for organic. But if you're eating a pineapple, because it is a protective layer around it, it is a little bit better than if you were to get you know, something that had the exposing peel on it that you would eat. So just try to pick and choose if you have to. However, you know, an organic pineapple is going to be better than a non-organic. But that's something that you can, you know, if money is the issue, that's something that you can still add and you can still be healthy, add it to your diet.
100%. That's key. That's key. If you got to make choices, you can.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But certain things are very important to consume organic, right?
And then one thing for the U.S. people, look at the barcode on the fruit. If the barcode starts with a 9, it's labeled as organic. If it's a 3 or a 4, then it's not organic material. So just make sure you look at that barcode, because sometimes in the organic section, they'll put something that has a 3 or 4 on it, and that's not necessarily organic. So you got to look at that barcode, because they're required to put the proper barcoding on the fruit that they have there.
Yeah, that's a jewel right there. That's key. That's key to know these little things like that, little facts. To stay as healthy as possible. So supplements. Like I said, I think supplements are perfectly fine, and I'm not saying don't take B12 if you feel that taking a B12 supplement is important. Definitely do so. If you can make it organic, it's even better. Understand how you feel. That's another thing that's important.
That's good.
Learn to feel and to listen to what your body's telling you. You know what I'm saying, and adapt from there and adjust from there.
And also know that we're not all the same. Like what Fernando needs is not the same as what I need, and there's no one, you know, size fits all. So that's why I encourage the blood work to get done. Get that blood work drawn at least once or twice a year, so that way you can kind of understand, or we can all understand what it is that we need, because he might be sufficient in B12, but I might not. We're both vegan. So then I would need to take the supplement. He doesn't necessarily need it. So that's something that we want to all look at too.
Yeah, for sure. So a lot of studies have shown that, in quote unquote first world countries, there are several people that are B12 deficient.
Okay.
But it also includes meat eaters. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's not just vegetarians or vegans. Meat eaters can be a little bit B12 deficient as well because of what I was explaining earlier. B12 today is harder to get because it's a bacteria, it's in the earth, and today we clean everything up a lot. So it's harder to get that B12. But
also I'll say this, like, for me, I look at health from a health, like how I feel, and then longevity, right? And by now, if anyone has listened to our podcast, you know that I'm a follower of the blue zones, because that's where people live to be past 100 years old, and they're the healthiest. Their mind is in the right place. They're physically fit.
We're gonna get into that.
But yeah, we'll get into it deeper. But if you look at the blue zones, they're all around the world, and really, none of them are big supplement takers. So, that just shows, like, okay, where are they getting their B12 from, or do they need as much B12 as we're saying? So that's something to keep in mind, because they are 98% plant-based.
Yeah.
And they're not taking any supplements. So if it's about living long and living healthy, they're showing you right there that it can be done with the proper nutrition, the proper whole food diet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, without a doubt. I want to talk about this is probably the biggest myth when it comes to veganism is protein.
Okay.
Protein.
Yeah, sure.
Right. They have done studies of people being, B12 deficient, right? Mm-hmm. Protein deficiency it almost doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The only places when they do studies, the only places you see protein deficiency is in quote unquote third world countries.
Okay.
And why is that? Because they're hungry.
Right.
There's just food deficiency. They're not eating enough, period. Right? Because the thing that they don't tell you is that everything you eat has protein. In a smaller doses, but eating a tomato, there's some protein in there.
Right.
Whatever it is that you're eating, there's protein in it. So it's very difficult to find people that are protein deficient.
Okay.
Right? That's the first thing. So basically, if you're eating enough, if you have enough food to eat, you're not starving, usually you're not going to be protein deficient. Now, for people that are athletes or athletic, you know what I'm saying? We need more protein, right? Because we're pushing more on the muscle. We're working harder, and we need a little more protein. That's obvious. But obviously, it has been proven as well that on a plant-based diet, you can get enough protein. Today you have everything. Every type of athlete. You have vegan bodybuilders. Any type of athlete you could think of that is vegan. You have people that. Not only people. This is not a new thing, but we're gonna get into that. I want to get into that a little bit in a second, but. Veganism is not new, right? You have generations of people who have lived throughout the years eating plants, eating seeds, eating vegetables, eating legumes. You know what I'm saying? So it's nothing new, really. But we've received so much propaganda that it's difficult for us to understand. Like everything in our brain says milk, strong bones, got milk, gotta drink milk. Protein, I need my protein, and they equate that automatically to meat. I need my protein means I need my meat. That's not how it works. You can need your protein and have your broccoli. You can need your protein and have your beans or have your lentils, or you can have your tofu even. You know what I'm saying? That's another story. Some people are not so much tofu fans. Others are. But that's another debate. But my point is you can have protein from all types of plant-based foods.
Yeah. And also I would say, like, from a trainer and nutrition coach standpoint, like protein, we know there's numerous studies out right now. You can look it up. There's numerous studies that's showing that it's not necessarily the quantity of protein that we take, which kind of eliminates the, like I used to do, like 4 chicken breasts a day. It's not so much how much quantity, but the quality. So if you're getting quality protein in your body's digesting it, absorbing it at a higher level. You don't necessarily need that high number. Like me, I was doing 300 grams a day of animal protein that reduced with my plant protein. However, I continue to build muscle, continue to get stronger with less pain, less inflammation. And so in turn, the inflammation is not high, so I'm able to it's like a wheel. I just able to just keep getting higher quality of protein. I mean, my body's absorbing at a higher rate. So then once you get into that rhythm, then the body is able to actually outperform those who are animal eaters. And that's studies are coming out every single day that are proving that to be correct.
No doubt. Yeah. That's it, man. Let's talk about the unhealthy. Being an unhealthy vegan. I think certain vegans, like we said earlier, there are various reasons as to why people go vegan. And certain people are more focused into animal rights. They want to stop animal suffering, basically, which I respect very much. But like we said earlier, like I think it's important to, once you start taking care of yourself, you're also taking care of others, right?
Right.
What do you think about being a quote unquote unhealthy vegan?
Yeah, so I think so unhealthy, right, as far as like putting trash into the body, it goes across the board, whether you eat meat or whether you eat, vegan, quote unquote. However, I think like there's also a level of unhealthy vegan that we all need to be, as vegans, we need to be aware of, is like treating others like crap because they're not vegan. So I don't think that's the right way to get the message across. I think we should have healthy conversation. We should give good information. We should live and walk the walk. But I don't think like beating people over the head because they're eating meat is a healthy way of the vegan lifestyle, because that's not what we believe in, right? Like we treat animals sometimes better than we treat our fellow man because they maybe don't agree on something. And this is the argument with religion and things like that, right? Like this is not the way to get a good message across, because now we taint the message. Now people who are anti-vegan can run with that campaign. And then now we're kind of doing harm against ourselves. And that's something that we all just need to be aware of, myself included, because we get so passionate about being healthy, others being healthy, saving the environment, saving the animals. But also we need to be compassionate and show that compassion to our fellow human as much as we are to our fellow animal and things like that.
No doubt. I agree with that. And I think, I do think it goes both ways, though. Certain people may get, laughed at or get turned away from veganism, because socially it's not yet, depending on where you are and what your environment is, but globally, generally, it's not socially accepted yet to be a vegan, right? So younger people may get laughed at. There's still the stereotype of, in order to be manly, you gotta eat meat, all this stuff.
Sure.
So it has to kind of go both ways.
So meat eaters, don't be jerks.
Right. But the one thing I will say though, that I think that I still I respect anybody living their life kind of the way they want to. If they want to eat meat and all that. But I will say that people often talk about live and let live, right?
Right.
But the problem is that by eating meat, you're not letting live.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? That the animal doesn't have a choice. Yeah. You're taking another being's life, and you're also, contributing to what's messing up our environment, like I said. So, there's more things than just that are affecting our environment and all that. Of course. Us living in this society, what I'm saying? We all contribute in some aspect in a negative way, But if we can do little things like that, especially today where going vegan is a little bit easier. Right. Actually, it's a lot easier than 20, 30 years ago because there's so many different options.
Even 6 years ago, yeah.
Exactly. So many different options and things. I believe that's something that's to be considered, at least by everybody. What I'm saying?
Yeah, I really think that, we all need to be compassionate with each other and have these conversations. And at the end of the day, whether you eat meat or you eat plants, or you eat both, whatever, we need to all be in search of the facts. Like, what are the facts? Like, let's not just argue like how we feel, how we grew up. Like, let's really be in search of what are the facts. Like, what is the most healthiest for myself? What is the best for the environment? What is the best for, the animals? What is the best for society? And I think that if we have these conversations and we're in search of these facts together, no matter what side we're on, I think not only will we come to an agreement at some point, but also we'll be understanding and willing to maybe even try the other side, No doubt. Because at the end of the day, that's what we all want, right? We want the truth, and we should be in search of the truth, no matter what our beliefs are.
Yeah, for sure. That's it, man.
Yeah.
Couldn't say it any better. So before we get into the blue zones, we're gonna get into the blue zones a little bit because that's important. But I want to talk about one last myth, right?
Okay.
You know, there's this myth, you know, going around, especially in our communities, that, you know, veganism is a white thing.
Okay.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I think every black person, every person of African descent that's a vegan has heard that at some point, right?
Of course.
At some point, we've heard that. We've been through that. Like, oh, that's a white thing, or that's a rich people thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I want to get into that a little bit because that's important. It happens a lot in our society. Like, people will say right now that rock and roll is a white thing.
Right.
But it's not.
Right. Yeah.
It's not a white thing at all. And it kind of, veganism is a little different because the term was coined by white people. To be exact, in 1944, Dorothy Morgan and Donald Watson, they coined the term vegan, right? And they were about, you know, protecting animals. They were against animal cruelty, and so they coined this term vegan because they felt like vegetarians weren't doing enough. Because we do know today that even like the dairy industry hurts animals sometimes even worse than the meat industry, right? How they do what they do to cows, and to even to like the egg industry kill I don't know how many baby chicks every day and all of that. So you know they were like, no, we gotta go vegan, right? So they coined this term, but that was 1944, right? And so because of this, you know, and because today a lot of organic food and a lot of quote unquote, you know, vegan food, plant-based food is expensive, we think that it's a white thing, right? But the truth is that eating from the soil, eating fruits and vegetables, which that's what veganism is about. It's about eating natural, eating from the soil. That's the root of it. Well, where's their good soil? Sunshine, rain.
Right.
That's in hot places. That's in Africa. That's in the Caribbean. That's where all that comes from.
Yeah.
So the culture of eating lots of fruits and vegetables, you know what I'm saying? That's not white at all, right?
Yeah.
So in 1944, they coined the term vegan. But in 1930, right, the Rastafarian movement began, and they had this whole philosophy about Ital liberty, right? About eating Ital and living Ital, which means vital, right? And so they were about same thing, not hurting other beings, eating from the earth because that's what gives us the true vitamins and minerals that we need. You know what I'm saying? And Ital food is vegan food.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Basically. And that was in the 1930s, right? So Rastafari has been doing that. They've been saying that. And I'm talking about Rastafari, which is a Pan-Africanist pro-black movement, right?
Right.
Same thing with if we go to most dishes, most African dishes on the continent, most dishes are named after plants, right? No indigenous culture put animals in cages. They didn't do that. This is what the colonial brought, you know. Indigenous cultures might have hunted once in a while. They would hunt. They would bring back one animal and they would share it with a whole entire village. They would eat a little piece of meat and then they might not even eat meat for another month or another 2 months. So they didn't catch another animal or they didn't go after one because they were the base of what they ate was what the earth would give us, would give our ancestors, right? So it's definitely not a new thing. And if we go even further back, right, we're talking about the Kemetic diet. Right, Kemet, which is ancient Egypt, which is, you know, the first civilizations, right? You look back to that, it's a plant-based diet, man. I got books at the crib, you know. So we're talking about plant-based diet is our natural way to live, man. It's the way we've always ate from the land mainly. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to get that out there, like, yo, don't let this new, you know, wave try to lie to you, try to tell you that this is some bougie thing. Veganism is some bougie. No, worrying about other beings, worrying about the planet, worrying about yourself, you know, your well-being is not bougie, is not corny. This is what we need to be about. You know what I'm saying? Elevating your consciousness is positive. It's not white. It's not corny. Is what we're truly about. What we're supposed to be about, man.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think like with everything, I think it's dangerous if we keep trying to put colors and separations on lifestyles or anything, right? Like this goes against what we're saying. Like we're trying to live a lifestyle that's bringing a togetherness, right? So it doesn't matter the origins at this point. We're here now. In my opinion, this is the way my brain thinks. And so I think like the more we try to separate, and then it just kind of drives all of us further away as opposed to, okay, this is where we are now. Like, no, it's not a white thing. It's not anyone's thing. It's a human, environmentally healthy thing that we should all be inquisitive about, learn about, and seek the facts about. And I think that is vegan, right? Like that is, if we want to call veganism. This is one reason why, like me personally, I don't call myself like vegan. I say like I eat holistic because I don't want to be attached with the ism that comes with veganism. That's just my personal opinion, because I do think it drives a separation, just like at times religion will do. This is another podcast.
Yeah.
But I think like, I agree with you. I think that it's not a white or black or anything thing. I think it's something it's just the most logical, healthiest option, and it's the best option, and we should all be adopting it. And we should all, as a black community, we should not be running away from it because we feel like this is a white thing, or if you're, or if we don't have the money, we shouldn't feel like this is a rich thing. No, it's just the right thing. And if you feel like it's something that you want to incorporate into your lifestyle, then do it. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Like, just do it, you know?
No doubt, yeah. And when we're talking about the money, we have to understand how expensive meat is, how expensive yogurt is, cheese, butter, you know what I'm saying? Fish, all these things are expensive. You know what I'm saying? McDonald's.
This is true.
You know, eating trash every day, going outside and grabbing anything everywhere you at. Because that's another thing that's another reason why veganism is still healthy, is because you can't just go anywhere and grab whatever to eat. Like many people do. I'll eat anywhere out there. I'll eat whatever. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that now. You have to check. You have to make sure. You know what I'm saying? So if you buy big quantities of rice, of potatoes, of onions, of lentils, you buy big bags. Beans, it's going to be way cheaper than buying meat, than buying cheese, than buying, you know, chicken,
100%.
all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And especially if we're talking quality. Now, if we're talking quality meat, you can't even. You know what I'm saying? Like some organic, organic grass-fed, all that
expensive.
Stuff. Way more expensive than getting some, you know, than getting some chickpeas and some rice and a couple tomatoes and an avocado. You got yourself a complete meal. You know what I'm saying? But so that's another thing that's important.
But also, that's something that we can encourage people to try. Like, try it. Like, try it for a month. Like, see how your grocery budget is now, and let's try a month of going vegan, going holistic vegan. Get a couple fun items in there too to test and try it and see what's the price difference, right? That's something that everyone can try. And if you try it, go ahead and hit Fernando up on the Vital Hoops podcast and let him know, like, what is your experience? Was it more expensive? Was it cheaper? Let us know. We want to know. We want you guys to try it and let us know.
For sure. Please do that. Please do that. Hit us up. You know, VitalHoopsPodcast at gmail.com or on the socials at VitalHoopsPodcast. Anywhere. Hit Pierre up.
Yeah, you can hit me up at tfgfit@gmail.com and hit us up. Let us know.
For sure. You spoke a little bit about not identifying, you know, as a vegan or not labeling yourself. You know what I'm saying? I think that's interesting. That's interesting. There's different, you know, thoughts. You know, certain people like, for example, like I said, I mentioned earlier, Aris Latan, right? He doesn't identify as vegan either. He says he's still a vegetarian, right?
Really?
He calls himself a vegetarian because he got into it back in the day when it was like more of a revolutionary thing, and the term was vegetarian back in the day when he got into it. You know what I'm saying? So he says, but he's real strict with it though. He tells vegetarians, like, listen, do you eat cheese? They'd be like, yeah. He'd be like, cheese don't vegetate. You know what I'm saying? Vegetarian eat vegetables, we eat fruit. So that's his definition. But the term that he identifies with is not vegan. He's like, no, I'm not a vegan. That, you know. So that's interesting, you know what I'm saying? Me personally, I have adopted the term vegan because of, you know, what it means. I think to me the animals thing is also very important because I see those living beings suffering. I see how horrible the slaughterhouses are. I see how horrible the meat industry is and how it's all about, you know, making profit. And in the society that we live in, you know, I'm definitely anti the meat industry basically. But also, I take it a little step further, and I like to call myself an Afro vegan. Why? Because of a couple of things that I mentioned. Because to me, what inspired me is Afrocentric culture, really. Whether it's Rastafari, whether it's, you know, people like Dick Gregory, you know, people like, you know, artists like Erykah Badu, you know, the RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan, you know, Dr. Sabi, Dr. Layla Africa, you know, Queen Afua. These are the people that really inspired me to really get into this plant-based lifestyle and to go vegan. So yeah, I like to identify myself as an Afro vegan. By the way, if you get a chance, go back to episode 32 of the Vital Hoops podcast. It's called Afro Vegan, and I get a little deeper into why Afro veganism. But
I'll say this, not to cut you off, but I think like that's what we're talking about, right? Like it's like you can identify this way. I don't necessarily identify that same way, but if we really have a conversation like we are, like our morals and our ethics align, right? The reasons why we do it align. So whether, like, I don't want people to get so caught up in like putting a name on things,
for sure,
where like it loses the whole reason why we're doing this in the first place. You see what I'm saying? So that's like, I agree. That's like where I think it's a little bit different. Like, yeah, you can be Afro vegan, you can be whatever you want to be, as long as your values and your ethics were lining up and we're on that right path to truth. And I think that at the end of the day, that's the bigger picture because, that's all.
Yeah, mainly what we're talking about here is reducing harm. Reducing harm to ourselves, to our planet, to the animals, to the other animals, to the non-human animals.
That's good. I'm gonna put that on the IG bio.
Yeah, no doubt. Reducing harm. Man.
I like
that's
that.
What we're about.
I like that. Okay, I like
that. So yeah, man. Before we, I think we need to get into the blue zones a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
Let's talk about the blue zones because that's interesting. I know you put me up on the blue zones a few years ago.
Yeah.
You know, and I've been checking it out a little bit. I think it's very interesting. The places where they're located and all that. I think a documentary just came out about the blue zone. But yeah, tell us a little bit about the blue zones, what it is for the listeners who have no idea what the blue zones are, and
So the blue zones, they're basically these areas in the world where people live to be 100 years old or more. And it's interesting because they're living all over the world and they all have different religions. They all are different cultures. They're all different skin colors. But the common factor between all of them, there's a few, but one of the common factors is they're 98% vegan. And then they also have, a few things like they drink, they exercise, daily. They do everyday exercise. They have community. They, have tea or coffee. There's multiple things, and you can check that out, the blue zones. But the thing that interests me is that they're all different places of the world, and they're not communicating to each other about this.
Right.
However, they have like high concentration, living over 100 for centuries. So it's not like just this phenomenon that's popped up. Like, no, these people have been, this is their normal life. Like in Okinawa, like if you live to be 90, that's normal. Right. That's normal. Like, oh yeah, they're 93. Yeah. And they can still go to a grocery store. They can still do crossword puzzle. Anything you can talk to them about their third grade teacher. And they're going to be like, oh yeah, this, yeah. So I'm a follower, if I would say, of the Blue Zones method. But I recommend everyone go check it out and try some things that are in there and let us know what you think about it too,
Yeah, I think one of the real interesting aspects of the Blue Zones is, like you said, 98% vegan. And a lot of what they eat, another thing that's really important is that they eat from the soil, from where they live.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not so much things that are being imported.
That's true.
But they're planting their own food.
Yep.
And another aspect that I think is extremely important is community. You know what I'm saying? Because in today's society, we live in a very individualistic world. We live in, individualism is huge and it's horrible. It's what's killing us, in my opinion.
No, it's
so the aspect of community is key, and it makes these people live longer. Why? Because they understand that it's not just about themselves. Other people depend on them. There's a whole community, right? Getting away from selfishness, togetherness, community, planting your food,
being in nature.
It's like
what we're talking about, though. It's like that connection of like the earth, the people, the animals, the wind, the rain, whatever you want to call it. Like it's like that connection, and then I think when you have more community, you're planting your own food. I think you kind of are more immersed in that connection, so it makes more sense whether you're living in like a city in a concrete, 50-foot high rise, you might not necessarily get the same feel that these people are getting,
100%. And how much supplements do they take?
Yeah, no supplements. No supplements, whole diet, 98% vegan. And listen, when we say 98% vegan, I want to be clear on this because some people will try to say, oh, but they don't eat 100%. But listen, they eat. Okay, listen, they eat the amount of their hand in meat maybe once a year. So we're talking about a celebration. We're talking about a New Year's or a Christmas-like festival, right? And we're talking about literally the palm of their hand, that amount of meat from an animal that was raised or that was wild, that was hunted. So it's not the same as mass-producing animals, like slaughtering them. And it's not the same meat.
Makes an entire difference.
Exactly. And we're talking about the palm of your hand. So what we eat as, Americans or whatever, what we eat in one meal, that's their 1 year of meat that they would consume. So, yes, we say 98% vegan, but most of them, especially like the Adventists and things like that, they're eating 100% vegan. But there is a 98% because, they eat a little bit of meat once a year.
And that, to go back to what we were talking about, that comes closer to what our ancestors...
Exactly.
to how they would live. When they would maybe hunt an animal, a wild animal once in a while. They would share it with the village. It was something sacred. They would acknowledge the life that was actually lost, that they had, that they had hunted. This animal is not just... It's not just now where when you sit down to eat, for example, processed meat, you may eat from like 4 different animals in one sitting. You're eating processed meat. It's nasty. All these, you don't even know how much. And well, either way, it has been proven by now, if you don't know that, processed meat is the same as smoking cigarettes, basically. Like your cancer will come, unfortunately. I want to say.
It's levels to the meat eating game too, right? Obviously for me, I talk from like a nutrition standpoint a lot of times, and I have clients who eat meat, and we discuss. They know I'm vegan, but if you're eating processed food, that's the bottom of the barrel, right? And then if you're eating meat, that's like the next level up from the bottom. Then if you're eating organic, USD organic or grass-fed meat, maybe that's a step up. But there's levels to that, so you can't just say like, oh, I need my protein, but you go to McDonald's every day and get, these huge burgers. That's you can't win that argument when it comes to, maybe if you're eating like some meat that you hunted, we can sit down and have that conversation, and maybe you can, make some valid points, right? But if you're eating processed food, sausages and things like that come in a plastic package, that's just... We all know it's not healthy. We can't argue that that's healthy. I think we got to put that to bed,
It's really unhealthy.
Super, yeah.
And especially a lot of us, I say us because I guess I used to do that when I wasn't vegan, but a lot of us are even giving these things to our children.
Yeah.
Processed meat, we're giving processed meat to our children. That's the equivalent of letting them smoke as a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, we really got to get, like you said, we got to get to the facts, man. We got to get to the facts. And I know sometimes it's difficult because there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Right.
Yeah, we got to get to the facts.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, definitely I encourage everyone to go check out the Blue Zones documentary.
Yeah, check it out. Check out Dan Buettner's IG. He's the head of the Blue Zones research team. Check out the Blue Zones IG. Check out our IG. We talk about the Blue Zones often. We try to, just kind of educate on that. But yeah.
Definitely. I got a couple other documentaries I want to recommend.
Okay.
For the athletes, if you haven't yet seen it, Game Changer. You know what I'm saying? Game Changer is about, vegan athletes. I would definitely recommend, as far as what's considered global warming and the environmental footprint and all that, I would recommend Cowspiracy.
Okay.
And Seaspiracy as well.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Seaspiracy, Cowspiracy, these are important. I would recommend, as far as health, What the Health.
Yeah, of course.
What the Health is a good one. Forks Over Knives. And there's one that is specifically for black people or people of African descent. It's called They're Trying to Kill Us.
Okay.
And They're Trying to Kill Us it's also about health and living a vegan or plant-based lifestyle, but it's also about food deserts, you know what I'm saying, and environmental racism.
Okay.
And all of that. So They're Trying to Kill Us. It's a little harder to find, but definitely Google it, find it. It's a good one. And I also want to recommend the milk system, because sometimes, like I said, we mentioned this earlier, but basically going vegetarian is not enough, because the milk system or the dairy industry is in many cases worse. The abuse that these animals go through. They're basically raped over and over in order to maintain, in order to keep giving milk. When the baby's born, it's taken away from the mother right away, and all the milk that's supposed to be for the baby is distributed to the people. So then the cow is again raped so it can be pregnant again and produce more milk. And then once the cow can no more do that because it's whatever, killed. So basically, if you're a vegetarian because you don't want death of animals, well, the cow that you're consuming the milk from, they're gonna slaughter that cow as well. So, I think that this one is pretty good. And then Earthlings, man. Earthlings. Undeniable. Like, it's hard to watch for many people, for myself included, but Earthlings is basically about the slaughterhouses, man. This is one thing that everybody knows and most meat eaters know, but they don't want to watch it. They never want, no, I'm not watching that.
Yeah.
No, I mean.
But also, if you're a meat eater, I would almost challenge you to go visit a slaughterhouse.
No doubt.
Right? Like, let's go visit it and just see. Like, if you feel comfortable being there, being around, not one that's like a grass-fed kind of, these kind of tricky ones. But go to a real slaughterhouse, see like thousands of animals in little bitty cages and see how they're handled, see how they're killed. And then just kind of, that's what we're talking about, like looking for the truth.
And chances are, if you're able to visit one of those, you got to multiply what you're going to see by 4 or 5,
right?
Because they're gonna make sure everything is smooth when you get in there. You know what I'm saying? But there have been people that were able to hide cameras, and so there's horrible footage. But even more so, people that work in slaughterhouses, they don't eat meat. Those people don't eat meat. They'll tell you what happens in there is horrible, and most of them are traumatized, to tell you the truth. And so it's not just traumatizing the animal; it's traumatizing the people. And there has been, studies showing that even these people, sometimes they reproduce the harm that they sometimes it reproduces into like domestic violence and things like that. Because how can you be so violent at the workplace and then when you get home you automatically flip a switch and now you're not a violent person at all and you're a smooth. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happens. So really, it's just traumatizing all around, man. The animals, and like I mentioned earlier, that negative energy passes on. It passes on when you're consuming that meat. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think, like I said earlier, man, this is my thing. There's no bad reason to go vegan. Every reason is positive, I believe. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you decide to, go vegan or try to head that way. I'm not saying you have to, cold turkey go vegan. But head towards that. Head towards, consuming less meat. Head towards, not using products that have been animal tested. Not using toxic products. Because whatever you put on your skin, this is another reason why, we vegans, not only we don't eat these things, but we don't use them or put them in our environment to clean. If you clean your apartment with something that's toxic, it's going to go inside of you. If you put a cream on your skin that's toxic, your skin is going to absorb that. It's going to go inside of you, right?
That's true.
So, you know what I'm saying? Watch what you consume. It's not only what you eat. It's wherever you spend your money, whatever it is that you do. You know what I'm saying? So that's that.
And if you need help, like doing the different levels, because I understand that not everyone can go cold turkey from, eating a bunch of meat to this. Reach out to us. Reach out to me. I'm a nutrition coach. I'm certified in this, and I can help coach you from level, if you're a heavy meat eater or if you're a vegetarian, we can go through the stages and kind of create a game plan so that you can go from one to the other. If you need more education, reach out to us. Like, we both have the knowledge and we'll do the research for you. Or if you just need like someone for support, reach out to the VitalHoopsPodcast, reach out to Train for Greatness, and we'll give you that support. We'll give you what you need. Whatever the knowledge we have, we're willing to share it and to help because we do believe in this holistic vegan approach. So
no doubt, we believe in this for real. And like P said, he won't say this, but he's very good at it. So definitely reach out. You know what I'm saying? Reach out for sure. But I got a book recommendation, man. We got a book recommendation. Is there anything else we left out, man, that you wanted to? Well, let's get into this book recommendation that we'll close out. All right. So for today, we're going to recommend the China study, right? So the China study is the most comprehensive study of nutrition ever conducted, and it leads to a whole foods plant-based diet, right? It leads to a whole foods plant-based diet, whether we're talking weight loss or long-term health, right? A whole foods plant-based diet is the way to go. This is a very elaborated, meticulous study. It explains how through a whole foods plant-based diet you can escape, reduce, or reverse disease, right? Which is very important. So there's even the reverse part, right? Where people have been healed through simply stopping meat and stopping processed foods and just eating a whole foods plant-based diet. And they've been cured. You know what I'm saying? From cancer, from several types of cancers, from, different illnesses, man.
There's a runner right now. He's like he's over 100 years old. His name is, I believe, is Mike, but look him up. Look up long distance runner over 100 years old, and he's like the only one that really pops up. But he was around 50 or 60 diagnosed with, I want to say stage 4 cancer. Wow. And from that day, he went home, read a book about how to eat to avoid cancer, and then he went strictly whole food vegan. And then within a few months, his cancer was completely gone. And obviously, we know he's past 100 years old today. And if you listen to any of his interviews, he's very active on social media. He does a lot of interviews. He'll say it today, like, it's because I went whole food vegan. That's the only reason why I'm alive today. And that's a real life story. And there's thousands of those. But he's just one that's very active. And he lived over 100 years old. So it's very interesting. So, yeah.
No doubt, man. Yeah, so this is it. Listen, as I said at the beginning of the show, veganism is part of this podcast, so you probably heard a little bit about it. You're gonna keep hearing about it. Pete, thank you, man, for being a part of this, for being a co-host out here. You know what I'm saying?
We're gonna do a lot more.
Yeah, no doubt. Pete will be back for sure. But thank all the listeners for checking us out. Please like, share, subscribe. If this helped you in any way, you can hit us up, or you can simply share it with your friends, with your parents, with your sisters, with your enemies, whoever you want to share it with, man. But, if you think it helped you at all, or it made you think in some way, it made you, please share it, because that helps us a lot. Any little bit that you do with this podcast right here helps us a lot.
And if it made you mad, hit me up, Train for Greatness. We'll have a discussion, hit me up on email, tfgfit@gmail.com, and we'll have a discussion if it made you mad. No, I'm just joking. If it made you mad,
real talk though. Constructive criticism is always welcome. Sure. Always welcome.
Exactly. Yeah.
We're here to learn as well.
Exactly.
We're here to learn as well. And so, that's that, man. I wanna thank you all. This is episode 40. Ooh. We're gonna keep it going. All right, check us out, like I said, at VitalHoopsPodcast, at Train for Greatness, VitalHoops.net. Vital Hoops is for the culture. We out. Peace.